Welcome to the Deep Dive. And today, wow, we are really plunging headfirst into something historic. 77 years in the making.
Yeah.
The NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance, a promotion just steeped in wrestling history, right? They just held their final major showcase.
That's right. Before the big merger with AEW All Elite Wrestling, we're talking NWA 77.
And held at the Royal Albert Hall in London. Just an iconic venue.
It really is. And what makes this event stand out, I think, is that it's more than just another wrestling show. It's really a historical crossroads.
Yeah.
So this deep dive, it's a unique chance, really, to unpack all the intense drama, some surprising outcomes, and just fundamentally understand the forces at play here.
Yeah.
You know, as one wrestling era officially closes, another one begins.
And the Royal Albert Hall. What a perfect venue for that, right?
Yeah.
So unique, brilliant choice for such a historic night.
They've run it a couple of times before, the NWA has.
Right. And this time the stakes were just, through the roof, weren't they? Final champions getting crowned, careers kind of hanging in the balance, personal grudges hitting their absolute peak.
Absolutely. Everything felt amplified.
So how did this epic farewell actually kick off? How did it begin for the National Wrestling Alliance?
Well, it kicked off with a bang, actually. Julia and Sky defending their NWA Women's Tag Team Championships against Nixon Newell and Dakota Kai.
Ah, Team Kick.
Exactly. Team Kick, a formidable duo. And this wasn't, just a standard title defense. This was a full-blown grudge match.
Oh, right.
Their issues stemmed from what they called an unclean count-out finish at last month's Gratz event. One of those controversial endings where someone couldn't get back in the ring in time.
Always leaves things unsettled.
Right. Lingering bad blood. And that contentious finish led directly to this match having a no-holds-barred stipulation tonight.
No holds barred. Okay. Now, you mentioned Team Kick. What was it about them? I remember them from NXT. WWE's developmental, they really stood out.
Yeah, they did.
Dakota Kai from New Zealand and Tegan from Wales.
Yeah.
They just had this great unit feel.
Their chemistry was undeniable. Hard-hitting strikes, seamless teamwork. It's a style that clearly worked in NXT and translated well to the NWA.
And on the other side, Julia and Sky. They've got some pretty striking names. The Queens of the Coven, Sisters of Sin.
Yeah, definitely memorable. And there's that little wrestling lore bit, right? That one of their themes was actually kept after the original performer got fired.
Yeah. Speaks to their unique presence, I guess.
Totally. So this no-holds-barred match, it was every bit as intense as you'd expect, just back and forth, using weapons, the whole deal.
And the outcome.
Ultimately, Julia and Sky, they retained. They kept their NWA Women's Tag Team Championships with a decisive Code Blue finish.
Ah, their signature move.
Yep, left Team Kick unable to continue. And, connecting this to the bigger picture of the merger, this win immediately means Julia and Sky are now moving on to the land of the elite.
So straight into AEW.
Right, which could potentially make Sky Blue unavailable for WWE going forward. It shows you just how quickly these talent shifts can happen when promotions merge.
Yeah, that's a really immediate impact. Loyalty, contracts, everything gets thrown up in the air.
Exactly. It's a sign of how fast these smaller promotions are being absorbed and the ripple effects on the talent.
So from that intense tag match, we shifted gears a bit, didn't we, to the NWA British Heritage Championship.
We did. This one was Walter versus Giovanni Vinci, highly anticipated, a real grudge match. And this one had significant social commentary wrapped around it.
Okay, what was the story there?
It all stemmed from a pretty dramatic public breakup between Giovanni and Ludwig, actually. Happened at that same Graps event we mentioned earlier.
Ah, right, over Ludwig's nightly activities or something.
Well, the story goes Ludwig caught Giovanni coming out of a bar in Brighton.
Okay, Brighton's known for its vibrant gay scene.
Exactly. And Giovanni's response to Ludwig confronting him was apparently pretty defiant. Something like, Ludri IFU in your opinions, basically.
Wow. Yeah, proudly declaring he wasn't going to hide, that he's proud of who he is. And this whole thing, this confrontation, it got massive attention online.
I bet. Especially on Blue Sky, right?
Yeah, Blue Sky particularly.
Yeah.
The narrative kind of took off, an Austrian man with a stern opinion of gay rights versus the guy proudly being himself.
That kind of real-world resonance, it definitely strikes a chord, doesn't it?
It really does.
And what made this one maybe a bit divisive for some?
Well, it touched on identity, acceptance, things that are still, evolving in the sometimes traditional world of pro wrestling. Giovanni taking that public stance, especially against a character like Ludwig, It just became a lightning rod for discussion.
And the match rules reflected that personal animosity too, right? No pinfalls.
Right, no pinfalls, only knockout or submission. It felt less like a standard match, more like an underground fight, Just two guys going to beat the heck out of each other.
Powered by Giovanni being the Metropolitan Man.
Yeah, he definitely brought that fire. But in the end, Walter got the victory. Okay. So Walter carries the British Heritage Championship into the merger era.
He does, and the online reaction, like you said, Blue Sky, Twitter, folks were very upset about Giovanni losing, shows how invested people were in his story.
Yeah. Quick aside, didn't Glenn, one of the behind-the-scenes guys, actually go clubbing with Giovanni after a win in Brighton once?
Yeah, that's the story. Kind of adds this quirky little detail, blurring the lines between the character and reality,
Definitely does. Okay, so next up, the NWA Television Championship. Simon Miller challenging Stephanie Vacher.
Correct. Simon actually stepped in for Jamie Hayter, and his motivation was pretty clear. He wanted to break away, be his own man, win this title.
Classic challenger story. Prove yourself.
Exactly. And he was up against Stephanie Vacher, the Dark Angel from Santiago, Chile. She really has that champion's aura, doesn't she?
Oh, absolutely. She's considered like one of the hottest commodities in NWA, maybe all of wrestling right now.
Totally. And remember, she beat Bandito for that title.
Which was huge.
Huge. Her background, top luchador, wrestled all over South America, then gets her big break at an AEW crossover show, and NWA snapped her up quick.
Speaks volumes about her talent. Now, this match had that strength versus skill dynamic. Miller obviously had the size and strength advantage.
A severe advantage, yeah. But Stephanie, she's got a history of wrestling men. She's used to being the smaller competitor. She knows how to handle it.
Right. And this kind of match, man versus woman, it always sparks that discussion, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. About, male on female violence in wrestling.
It does, and it's an important discussion to acknowledge. You have a lot of fans who see it purely through the lens of sport, of performance. Stephanie signed up, Simon signed up, they're athletes, it's choreographed.
It's a sport, not a situation where we need to call the cops.
Right, that's one viewpoint. Then you have others who voice concerns about the visual, the broader implications, regardless of the staged nature. Our job here is just to kind of present those different perspectives within the community impartially.
Understood. So the outcome of this one, highly anticipated.
Simon Miller got the win. He achieved that breakthrough moment, defeated Stephanie Vacher, became the new NWA World's Television Champion.
Wow, huge for him, really breaking out.
Definitely a major step in his career.
Okay, from that breakthrough, we moved to the NWA Women's World Championship. Right. Mina Shirakawa defending against Julia.
That's right. And Julia earned this shot in a pretty prestigious way. She won the Crockett Cup.
The tag team tournament, right. Always a big deal.
Yeah.
Winning that usually grants a major title opportunity.
Exactly. And get this, she actually tagged with Konosuke Takeshita in that tournament.
Wow.
And they defeated teams of men to win it, which just tells you how capable Julia is.
Absolutely. That's impressive.
And what's really compelling here, too, is the dynamic. Two Japanese women fighting in the ring for a world title,
In London.
Yeah. It speaks to how promotions like NWA and WWE too have found success bringing in stars from places like Stardom in Japan. It really does. Shows the global talent pool. And the thinking is often, put these incredible athletes against each other, give them the time, let them do their thing.
Let them cook, basically.
Pretty much. And the Crockett Cup itself, just briefly, it has such a storied history. You look at past winners, the Briscoe brothers, the Russians, Dusty Rhodes, even more recently, Jack Perry. Hollywood-loving Jack Perry.
Legends. So this match, Mina versus Julia, high stakes. What was the result?
Mina Shirakawa retained. She held on to the NWA Women's Championship.
Okay. And there's an interesting historical note about that belt's legacy, isn't there?
Yeah, it's a bit intriguing. The lineage apparently goes all the way back to a woman we can't talk about because of things she did off TV. Hints at a deep, maybe complex history for that title.
Wrestling history is never simple, is it?
Rarely. But you could really feel the emotion after the match. Mina wearing the wounds of war, clearly exhausted, but just standing tall, not letting it affect her. A really powerful image for the champion.
Sounds like a great moment. Then we had that fatal four-way tables elimination match.
Yep. Konosuke Takeshita, Bandito, Jordan Devlin, and Kyle Fletcher. And the rules here were unique, brutal even. No pinfalls, no submissions.
Right. Victory only comes by putting someone through the table.
Exactly. Though knocking someone out first definitely makes that task a bit easier.
I imagine so. And this felt like a real showcase opportunity, didn't it? for these guys.
Oh, absolutely. These are some of the finest young wrestlers around. And they knew, the boss is in the building tonight, AEW management watching.
So they were definitely looking to impress, show what they can do for the new unified company.
For sure. The action was fast, chaotic. Kyle Fletcher was the first one eliminated.
Okay. What stood out about Takeshita and Fletcher in particular? Two interesting guys trying to make their mark.
Well, Takeshita, he came up in DDT, Dramatic Dream Team, in Japan. Which is known for being, like you said earlier, a less serious brand of wrestling sometimes, more entertainment-focused. But Takeshita always stood out there as this incredibly gifted, very serious wrestler. You could see the potential early on.
And Fletcher.
Kyle Fletcher, he's Australian, formerly part of the Great Aussie Open tag team, but recently he's just completely changed his look and his style, bulked up massively, clearly aiming for a big singles push.
Trying to reinvent himself for the new era.
Seems like it. The outcome, though. Konosuke Takeshita got the win, drove Kyle Fletcher through a table for the victory.
Kishida continues to impress.
He really does. You feel like he's earned every opportunity that he has gotten, and this win just reinforces that he could absolutely do it on the big stage in AEW.
No doubt. Okay, next up, the NWA Tag Team Championships.
Yeah.
A ladder match.
Yes. And this featured the very controversial champions, Scapegoat, Jack Perry, and Sammy Guevara.
Right. Controversial because they literally defaced the NWA titles with duct tape.
Yeah, spray paint, duct tape, openly signaling their intent to take down the NWA. Just a massive insult to the whole 77-year legacy.
Definitely playing the villains perfectly there. And their opponents.
Tyler Bate and Trent Seven, Mustache Mountain.
The veterans. Best of friends from England.
Yeah.
Real top talents on the British scene.
Absolutely. Guys who, despite all their talent, maybe never really got the big break in America that some felt they deserved. Trent, he's the seasoned veteran, and Tyler's just incredibly smooth and reliable in the ring.
Now, you mentioned earlier this poison chalice theory for guys like Perry and Guevara. Being big fish in a medium to small sized pond, moving into the ocean that is AEW.
Right. Like maybe they'll be treated like outsiders, similar to how some WCW guys were treated by WWE back in 2001.
Yeah, that history looms large. But do you think maybe this time could be different for them, given they're actively, against the NWA? Maybe AEW welcomes that?
That's a really interesting point. Maybe their anti-NWA stance actually works for them in this merger, positions them as agents of change for AEW, not just relics of the past. They're already showing loyalty to the future in a way.
By trying to destroy the past. And what about the internal politics? We always hear whispers, past reports of trades, maybe sweetheart contracts involving Sammy, his wife Charlotte Flair, Jon Moxley.
Yeah, that stuff is always bubbling under the surface, isn't it? It's a constant reminder that it really is the wrestling business, not the wrestling friendships, alliances, rivalries, leverage. It all plays a part.
Business first. So who climbed the ladder in this one?
The Death Riders, Jack Perry and Sammy Guevara, they got the win.
Wow. So they secure their spots going forward.
And deliver one last, undeniable thumb in the eye of the NWA on its way out. Pretty effective heel work, you gotta admit.
Can't argue with that. Which brings us to the main event, the big one.
The absolute biggest one, the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship Unification Ladder Match. Nick Wayne versus Will Ospreay versus Jon Moxley.
Just saying those names together. This wasn't just for the title. It felt like it was for the soul of the NWA legacy, right?
Exactly. The big question was, would Jon Moxley succeed? Would he take the NWA World title with him into oblivion, ruin its prestige like he wanted? Or could someone, Ospreay or Wayne, end this company on a high note, carry that legacy forward?
And the journeys these three took to get into this match. Incredible stories.
Absolutely. Moxley, like we said, just seems driven to kill the NWA. No other dreams, no aspirations mentioned, just destruction.
Pure nihilism almost.
Kind of feels like it.
Yeah.
Then you have Will Ospreay. He came in as the interim world heavyweight champion.
Right. He won his shot by cashing in the Battle Riot opportunity in this very building, the Royal Albert Hall.
Correct. But his big crowning moment at the previous big show, Starrcade, it got delayed, interrupted.
And that brings us to Nick Wayne, the guy who interrupted him.
The very same. Made that dramatic return, totally pulled the wool over Jon Moxley's eyes for weeks. He's living this teenage dream persona, right? But now he's a 20-year-old world champion.
And he won that belt originally, also at Starrcade, also in this building.
Yeah.
In a triple threat with Ospreay and Walter.
You got it. The history in that building for these guys is just layered.
And speaking of layers,
Yeah.
The personal animosity here was off the charts.
Oh, yeah. Multiple levels. Nick Wayne wanted revenge on Moxley for attacking him on his wedding night.
Brutal.
Will Ospreay wanted revenge on Nick Wayne for costing him, for ruining that Starrcade match where he thought he'd finally win the big one.
And then there's the Christian Cage factor lingering in the background too, isn't there?
Yeah, you can't forget that. Christian Cage previously jumped Nick and Billy Corben, presumably NWA owner, in the parking lot, made horrible comments about Nick's mother, just adding more fuel to all these personal fires.
So much history, so much heat, and the match style itself, a real contrast. Moxley the brawler.
Just wants to inflict pain, use weapons. Barbed wire is always a possibility with him in a ladder match.
Against the more technical, high-flying approaches of Ospreay and Nick Wayne.
Right. Two of the most dynamic, innovative wrestlers on the planet. But in a ladder match, anything goes. It gets brutal fast.
So the culmination of 77 years, the final NWA world title defense. Who did it? Who climbed that ladder? What does it mean for the legacy?
In a moment that felt truly triumphant, Nick Wayne did it. He climbed the ladder, grabbed the NWA World Heavyweight Championship belt, got it back in his hand for the first time since his wedding night.
Wow. Redemption.
Absolutely. A storybook ending in a way, and it delivers this incredibly profound statement, doesn't it? Despite everything, despite the NWA as an organization maybe ceasing to exist in this form.
Our title continues.
Exactly. The NWA Championship lives. The NWA may be gone, but its legacy will continue on. Powerful stuff.
Chills. Just chills. And there you have it. That was NWA 77. This deep dive really, I think, brings it all together, reflecting on the huge historical significance of this final showcase.
It really does. Even as one era officially ends, you immediately see new stories, new legacies starting to emerge through this merger with All Elite Wrestling. It's just such a dynamic, constantly evolving landscape.
Yeah. And looking ahead now, we've got the draft coming up, right?
Yeah.
That'll decide the futures for all these talents under the new unified AW and NWA logo.
Right. It's a transition. And it kind of echoes bigger patterns you see, in business and life, change, adaptation.
So it leaves you thinking, doesn't it? As one organization, this historic entity, ceases to exist, what does this whole event, this deep dive, really reveal about the enduring power of its history and the human stories wrapped up in it all?
Yeah. How does that apply maybe to other transitions we all go through, where something ends, but its impact, its legacy, that continues to shape whatever comes next?
Definitely something to ponder long after that final bell at the Royal Albert Hall.